All right. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience as we deal with our a little bit of back end difficulties on our end, but we're excited to get started with this new link. It should be all good to go for us. So, for anyone rejoining us, thank you for hopping over. For anyone just joining us today, we're just getting ourselves set up. So, our tour. I apologize that we had to begin a little bit late for this tour because of the difficulties. So we'll do our best to still end on time and get all the information for everyone um, uh, as required. So while Vicky sends a few resources in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and reintroduce myself once again. So first of all, hi, my name is Tyler. I am currently in my fourth year of science and aviation here at Waterloo. I just about finished all my requirements to graduate in June. So I'm starting to wrap up my time here at Waterloo. No regrets. Um, but I use he, him pronouns, and I'm going to pass it back over to Jacqueline, and she's going to be our moderating ambassador today. So, Jacqueline, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jacqueline. I do use she, her pronouns. I'm currently in my Master's of Geography, but I did my undergrad at Waterloo as well in Environment and Business with co-op. So you'll see my lovely face along with Tyler's today, and I'll help answer some questions while Tyler gives you guys the virtual tour. So let's get started.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jacqueline. We'd love to know who's joining us today, so feel free to say hi in the chat. And we'd love to know where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions as well, please throw them in the chat, and either Jacqueline and I or Vicky will do our best to answer them as we go in our tour today. This live virtual tour will take about 45 minutes, and we'll stay on if we have some time to stay on for a few of your questions afterwards. Since we will be showing you a lot of our indoor and outdoor spaces, it's very important to acknowledge the land on which the University of Waterloo is situated on. So we just like to acknowledge that much of our work as a university at Waterloo takes place on the traditional territory of the Neutral, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. Our main campus is situated on the Haldeman Tract, which was a land granted to the Six Nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. Our active work towards reconciliation takes place mostly through research, learning, teaching, and community building, and a lot of that is centralized within the Office of Indigenous Relations. So we can share a link in the chat for those wanting to learn more. So if Vicky has that resource, she'll go ahead and drop that. But our main campus is actually 998 acres. So while we can't show you everything virtually today, we will highlight some of our common and interesting spaces. So let's start with an overview of what our campus looks like before we spend more time looking at specific buildings and what's inside each of them. Awesome. So that was just a quick little overview of our campus. Before we move on, I just wanted to kind of explain why I decided to come to Waterloo as a student back when I was in high school. So for me, I've always loved airplanes and aviations ever since I was a little kid. That was really one of my main hobbies and main interests as a little kid. But when I was growing older, I knew I also wanted to get a university degree in an area of science that I wanted to do. And traditionally in Canada, you don't necessarily need to go to university to become a pilot. And I knew I really wanted to go to the university as well. So when I found out that Waterloo had a program that offered not only a program that had a Bachelor of Science, they actually had one where it combined both the science bachelor as well as the flight training and the flight licenses to become a commercial pilot in Canada. I knew that this was the perfect program for me. So 4 years later, I have absolutely zero regrets. I've done some of the coolest things I've ever done and met some of the most amazing people here. So hopefully after today's virtual tour, you get a little bit of an idea of what makes Waterloo so special as well. And for me, I personally feel like I've grown into more of myself here at Waterloo. So I'm sure Jacqueline has a very similar story in terms of what she has. And maybe once I call her back in our question, she can give a little overview of why she came to Waterloo and came back for her master's as well, which is quite interesting. If you know what program you're interested in, feel free to drop it in the chat. We're gonna go over some more faculty and program specific stations at the end of the tour. So feel free to do that in the chat. We'll take a look. And feel free to throw any questions as well. Jacqueline and I will do some quick pit stops throughout the tour. So back in 1957 at our university, our founders wanted this place to be a different kind of institution, one where industry and academics could work together to prepare grads who could move directly into the workplace. It wouldn't be just through textbooks and lectures, but by actually getting work in the field as well. And that's exactly how co-op was born here in Canada, where students could actually learn by experience and not just in the classroom. So let's start the tour by heading to the Tatham Center for Cooperative and Experiential Education to learn more about co-op and careers here at Waterloo. So the Tatham Center for Cooperative and Experiential Education is named for Waterloo grad Bill Tatham, who was a super successful entrepreneur who sold his first startup for more than $1 billion. Bill's first co-op term was with IBM, and he credits that experience with giving him his start in business. So to give back to Waterloo, he donated $4 million to help create this center, and now Waterloo has the largest cooperative education program of its kind in the world. You might be wondering exactly what co-op is. Co-op students typically alternate between 4 months of class and 4 months on a co-op work term. To find a co-op job, you use our online system to apply to jobs and participate in interviews, competing against other students. Here you can see some of the remote interview rooms students use when they have virtual interviews between classes. Over your work terms, you can earn up to 2 years of paid working experience, which can also really help you to manage your expenses while in school. So co-op students can earn $8,400 in the low end to more than $19,800 per work term in Canada. Your work terms will also give you a chance to try out different careers and maybe even a different country. We have over 7,500 employers all around the world. This is our waiting areas for students who are using the resources in the building. So you don't have to be a co-op student either. All Waterloo students are encouraged to use the Center for Career Actions because they offer resume critiques, job search workshops, further studies application help, and lots more. For students not in co-op, EDGE is a certificate aimed to explore careers, develop professional skills, and help you market yourself to employers. All of these amazing opportunities for students are probably why Waterloo ranks as one of the top universities in Canada for employable grads and 25th in the entire world. I believe we're number 1 this year for grad employability that we just got ranked, so that's pretty exciting. So for me, I'm actually in a regular program. So aviation is a non-co-op program, but that is because all of my experience comes from flight training and being in the aircraft. But I do have a close friend that I grew up with. Her name is Maggie. She just graduated from computer engineering 2 years ago. Her first co-op at Waterloo was at an escape room in downtown Toronto. So she had a lot of fun designing the software and the puzzles for their games and puzzles there. And though that wasn't her dream co-op per se, she got a really good head start in the tech world through that job. And in her second, third, and fourth years, she was able to land jobs at both Facebook and Uber down in Silicon Valley in California. Best part is she just landed her first, her full-time job at Facebook in Palo Alto in Silicon Valley with her boyfriend who got the job at the same campus. So they moved down to the States together, started a new life together, and just got married. So couldn't think of a better co-op story to tell. I'm just going to pull Jacqueline back into our stream to see if we have any questions in the chat right now. Jacqueline, do you see any interesting questions that we can answer?
Nothing specific to co-op, but we did have a question about maybe where like engineers want to live or physics students might want to live in terms of residence, and also just how students get around campus.
Oh, that's a great question. So I put the question on our live stream. So in terms of residents, a great question. We will kind of touch on this area later in our tour. We're going to see a few of the resident spaces. As a preview, though, our campus is basically only 10 minutes to 15-minute walk from any point to any other point on campus. It's a very compact campus, so that applies to residences as well. Um, Engineering and students might find the southeast cluster a bit closer in terms of Claudette Miller Hall, University of Waterloo Place. But either way, even if you are in the most further point in the other side of campus on those residences, the maximum amount you'll walk is about 15 minutes. So it doesn't really matter which ones, although there's some that are a tiny bit closer. Yeah, students do use bicycles, but as I said, our campus is a very compact one. It's only about 15 minutes maximum walk. For me, most of my walks take about 5 to 10 minutes between classes. So really, I have never found the need to use a bicycle or scooter. Walking works just fine for me. Jacqueline, do you have any insight on like your experience with walking, the scooters and things like
Yeah,
that?
I normally would just walk. During COVID, I did try to get outside and bike a little bit when I was off campus living, and I would bike to the library to pick up books or work on campus. So I did that a little bit, which was nice. There's lots of parking spaces for bikes around campus, so it makes it super easy and convenient. Otherwise, yeah, I just mainly walk, and it's a nice campus to walk. It's a nice way to get some steps in between classes and all of that. So yeah. I think the other question I did want to ask you, though, is will students be able to watch this video later?
Yes, this link does save after the live stream. So once this video is done, you can come back and watch the video just using this new link, just because we did use a new supplementary link. So in the emails, just click the new one that was sent, or come back to this link, and there should be an archived video that you can watch later.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I think we can, yeah, get moving on to the next stop.
Sounds good. So we'll answer any other questions at our next little question pit stop, but we'll continue for now. Yeah, so while co-op is a great way to get some hands-on experience, it's only one of the ways that we build experiential learning, as we call it, into the student experience. So learning by doing is one of the cornerstones of Waterloo, and many programs have it built right into the curriculum. If you're in a program like kinesiology, environmental resources and sustainability, and most of our science and engineering programs here, labs are one of the great ways you'll get that experience. We even have a national lab that's running straight through our campus. So this is called Laurel Creek, and some of our courses offered through the faculties of Environment, Engineering, and Science will use the creek to collect and analyze samples and learn more about our local flora and fauna. The creek definitely adds to the park-like feeling of our campus, and something you can even find fish and other animals who call it home. Aside from more traditional and not so traditional hands-on labs, all of our programs have some form of experiential learning, and they don't all involve getting your hands dirty. Like our geography students who travel to Bruce Peninsula National Park or Fathom 5 National Marine Park, where they conduct research on topics the parks are interested in, and then submit their reports for possible future use. As you can see, they're doing some of their experimentations in the water right here. Another example is our fine arts program, where students have the options of doing an internship with an individual arts gallery or an artist. The students might develop and deliver educational program for children and adults, research and write audio tours, or help produce exhibition videos, for example. For me, all I'm doing is experiential learning. I'm hopping in between the classroom, learning about the theory of flight, how to deal with different situations, and then hopping into the aircraft and applying that knowledge in our airplanes. But that's very unique to aviation in that sort of sense as well. But I had a friend, her name is Crystal. She's in earth sciences, and I met her in first year, where her first opportunity to go to hands-on kind of experience was traveling to Northern Ontario, where she got to go into the field and really apply that knowledge in mineralogy, hydrology, and environmental science for the first time. And that was really helpful for her to see how that classroom knowledge applied in the real world, and then use that back into the classroom when she came back. So I just bumped into her the other day. She's doing some really cool stuff, doing programs out of our Earth Sciences Museum here at Waterloo. So definitely a cool thing to go check out. But yeah, everything you do is about applying that knowledge from theory into the practical sense. So that's something that Waterloo is all about. Now, a big part of university is the academics, so let's talk a bit about what classes will look like. This can look a bit different depending on what your program is, but I'll share a few examples of the spaces where your learning might happen. So to start, you might be wondering how university classes are different from high school classes. Well, in high school, classes are usually all in the same building, but here at Waterloo, you'll travel from building to building typically. Class sizes at Waterloo can also vary depending on the class. So our largest classroom space has 721 seats, while our smallest class has as few as 10 students. There are also different types of classes, from lectures where your instructor presents information to tutorials where you are in a much smaller class and get help with material covered in the lectures, to labs, which are specifically equipped classrooms where you do experiments. We have lots of unique hands-on classroom around campus, from our human cadaver lab for kinesiology students to our idea clinic for engineering students. Not every course offers tutorials and labs, so the amount of time you spend in class will vary. But regardless of your program, you'll get to learn in a wide variety of classrooms throughout your time at Waterloo. Yeah, so even though you may need to travel from building to building, it usually only takes about 10 minutes, as I've explained a few minutes ago, to travel across our main campus. So it's not a problem typically getting to your next class on time. I'm going to pull Jacqueline back into our stream right here to see if we have any new questions that people have asked.
Yes, we have a few questions. So let me just pick up the ones. We have a lot of program-specific ones, but maybe, I know you shared a little bit about engineering and like some of the, I guess, ways they can learn through experience. Did you have any more examples you wanted to share with us, or even some for computer science?
Yeah, so I know we have some engineering computer science interest in the chat right now. So we will see those specific buildings at the end of the tour. But yeah, engineers and CS students get a lot of exposure to practical practice to prepare you not only for your career, but even your next co-op and build those skills. My brother's actually in his second year of biomedical engineering, and he absolutely loves it. It's really cool to see all the training he gets in not only software things, but also hardware. So he gets a lot of exposure to not only computer hardware and software, but also now he's specializing in more hospital technologies and medical technologies that use specific things. So he's really enjoying it. And there's lots of design teams at Waterloo as well for you to apply that really cool things to get that exposure and work on a really cool entrepreneurial project. So those are some of the other ways that you can apply your knowledge in terms of engineering and computer science.
I have two more questions about co-op. So what makes co-ops or Waterloo co-op different than some other universities? Like what is its strengths? Things like that.
Yeah, is this question from iSchool? I see that one in the chat as well, which is pretty cool. This is a great question. I think, well, we do have the largest co-op program of its kind in the entire world. So what that means is we have over 7,500 employer connections. We are a university that was founded 75 years ago on that principle of building real world experience. So we have a vast co-op network that allows students to go from school and compete for jobs in our marketplace and get access to employers. And that's not just in one sense, it's not a job placement. You're not placed an entire year. You get 4 to 6 different co-op terms to try out different areas of your field. So maybe you didn't like this area of engineering, but your next co-op job, you can try a different area. So you get a lot of exposure, a lot of experience, and by the end, you get up to 2 full years of paid work experience. So that really puts you miles ahead of other universities and even other co-op universities in Canada who may only give you 1 experience or maybe 1 year. At Waterloo, you'll have up to 6 different co-op jobs already on your resume before you even graduate from Waterloo. Hopefully that helps answer your question.
And I have one other question about co-op. So let's say students are going out of the city, they're not staying in Waterloo. Like, how do people find residence or accommodations?
Oh, that's a great one. Um, I think that's this one,
Yeah.
if that's correct. Yeah, that's a great question. So our co-op, our university is designed to function around our co-op students. We are open year-round because of that. So some students will be on co-op while other students will be in school. So our residences are open to the co-op streams. So I'm assuming if you're asking about during co-op, however, so if you are on co-op out of the city, out of Waterloo, it is your responsibility to find accommodation in your new city of co-op employment. So we do have lots of resources though to help you with tools to look for accommodation and look for rental spaces. But in the end, it is your responsibility to secure each accommodation. If you're in Waterloo, we do have residences that are an option that you can live on campus. Otherwise, you can use the tools offered by our university to find some accommodation on your own. I don't know, Jacqueline, if you have some insight on that answer.
Yeah. So I moved around a little bit for co-op during my undergrad, and most of the time, like a lot of the co-ops are going to be happening in student cities. So it's quite easy because other universities might have co-op, or if it's a summer term, a lot of students go home. And so it can be quite easy to just kind of sublet someone's place for 4 months. So I haven't had too much an issue. Most students either kind of know someone in that city and they just kind of take over from another student, or like you might find it through Facebook Marketplace or like Kijiji, things like that can be really easy. And even some places where there's larger co-op students, like in Silicon Valley, like there's places that are always switching between Waterloo students. So sometimes just talking to upper year students in your program can be super helpful for that. But for now, I think that's all of our questions. So we can get back to the tour.
Awesome. Okay, let's get back going then. All right. So for our next stop on the virtual tour, we'll head over to Needles Hall. So let me pull up that clip right now. So Needles Hall is home to many of our important academic and support services for all Waterloo students. Our first stop is Needles Hall in the center. Now, the center is a one-stop shop for assistance with many administrative tasks, including getting assistance with student loans, scholarships and bursaries, and asking questions about tuition payments, obtaining official documents, updating your student records, getting help with course enrollment, navigating transfer credits, and picking up or replacing your student card called a walk card. Also located in this building is accessibility services. So whether you have a disability, condition, or illness, or are experiencing impacts from a trauma, accessibility services can help you develop your individualized accommodation plan for all components of your academic career. In addition to the academic support that's available to you, we also have non-academic supports. So maybe you're feeling stressed or homesick. That's what counseling services has a lot of resources for, from individual sessions to workshops. They can also connect you with community resources if you need them. So for me, I was really confused in first year about the amount of freedom that I had in terms of picking my upper year courses and which specific credits I wanted to add to my degree, because there's just so many choices for me. So I found my academic advisor was super, super helpful in helping me plan out my degree with what I was interested in, and what I was strong in. And help use that to plan out my degree. So my academic advisor was super helpful for that and figuring out all the prerequisites. But that was just my experience. So there's tons of resources to help you out over here. But not too far from Needles Hall is our very own health services building. So if you get sick, there are medical staff on campus who can treat you. You can make an appointment or just walk in as well. Plus, you can request a male or female doctor. Anything you can go to your family doctor for, even your allergy shot, you can get here. Health Services also offers a COVID vaccination clinic for anyone on campus. First aid is available through Health Services, our campus response team, and local emergency services. And Waterloo is an incredibly safe and friendly city, and our campus definitely reflects that. Cool. So before we head over to our Student Life Center, Jacqueline, just wanted to check in really quickly just to see if we have any other questions that you think would be helpful for everyone to also listen in on.
Yes, let me just check. Most of the questions are pretty specific to what students are applying to. But maybe since you are an upper year student who has lived in residence, you want to speak to, I guess, living in residence and maybe working around like co-ops and things like that.
So are you asking about like specifically my experience during co-op in residence?
Just, I guess, living in residence as an upper year student and maybe talking about other upper year students who have lived and kind of in residence and worked it around their co-op streams.
That's a good question. So, at least for us, our residence terms are on a 4-month basis, just exactly like your school and work terms. So it's pretty easy to find that in. So I've lived on campus as an upper year in terms of being a residence don. So that was a lot of fun. Leading students, and Jacqueline, you've been a residence don as well. So we can talk about that later when we talk about our residences. But if you're an upper year, we do have residences for upper years. You just have to apply in due time. And then if you have a Waterloo-based co-op, that is an option for you as well.
And also, I was just going to add, residents normally you get an 8-month contract, and so they'll work with your co-op stream. So if you're,
Yes,
let's say, like a
exactly.
4-stream engineer student, your first co-op would be in the winter. So you would get a fall spring co-op, residence contract, and then you wouldn't have that contract when you're on co-op, just in case you're not in that area. So Waterloo works very well with the co-op system. So it's not a huge issue living on campus if that's easier for you when you're in upper years. There
Mm-hmm.
are designated floors and buildings for upper year students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think there's too many questions for the general public right now. So I think it's mostly just kind of program specific. So Vicki and I will keep answering at those. So I think we can just continue on with the tour for now.
Sounds good. Perfect. Thanks, Jacqueline. All right, so we're gonna head over to our Student Life Center to check out what that's all about. Yeah, the Student Life Center is a central place for students to go. It's really your space and open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It provides a ton of social, study, and dining space right in the center of campus. Speaking of dining, food can make or break your university experience, and we are well aware of that. So Waterloo has a very diverse community of students, faculty, and staff, and we offer food and options that consider many tastes and dietary restrictions. From chains like Starbucks, Jugo Juice, Tim Hortons, and Subway, to student-run coffee and donut shops, you'll never run out of delicious things to eat or drink. And there are 26 eateries around campus, and many specialize in different types of cuisine, so you don't have to go very far to feed your craving for butter chicken, shawarma, pad thai, wonton soups, tacos, a vegan power bowl, or a classic burger. Now, besides having tons of food options, the Student Life Center is also like a mini village with services ranging from a pharmacy, a dentist, physiotherapy clinic, a bank, and more. Another great feature of this building is the information desk called Turnkey, and it's always open and a great place to go if you need a stack, bus tickets, sign out a board game, or have questions and aren't sure where to go. There's also lots of spaces upstairs, including a multi-faith room and spaces for club meetings. Over here, we have over 200 clubs on campus, everything from special interest club like anime to student support clubs like GLOW, which is the oldest continuously running queer and trans student organization in Canada. The Student Life Center is a great place to connect with other students, and I definitely hang there quite a lot. So for me, I definitely highly recommend you join a club. I think it really helps you find that initial community in university really easily. So for me, I actually decided to take a step outside my comfort zone and join the a cappella club in first year. And that was a huge outside my comfort zone thing because I was never really a theater kid, but I wanted to try something new and this club seems really fun. And I had zero regrets because although it was really scary for me at first, having a mic, singing, dancing, acting on stage, I'm glad I decided just to get through because we went on to compete across Ontario and even in New York. So it was a lot of fun. So definitely, if it's a club, a society, or an athletic team, which we'll talk about next, I definitely highly recommend putting yourself out there or trying something new to really help enrich your university experience. So you probably guessed by now, but at Waterloo, we do a lot more than just study. We keep moving as well. So Waterloo has two main athletic facilities, as well as gyms and in some residences, providing a wide range of sports, teams, and classes for staying fit and having fun. Waterloo Recreations offers more than 250 structured programs in aquatics, first aid, fitness, yoga, Pilates, dance, wellness, and conditioning. Or you can work out on your own at one of our 4 gyms. We also have a brand new rock climbing wall as seen here that was added as part of our renovation, and also a pool that you can take advantage of during free swim times, take lessons, or get aquatic certifications. On the north end of campus is our football field and indoor field house that opened in 2019 and has 65,000 square feet of recreational space. Next door is Columbia Ice Field, which offers skating and is home to some of our Waterloo Warrior varsity teams. You get, speaking of Warriors, we have over 30 varsity teams, proudly bleeding black and gold, and you can get free admissions to all home varsity games by just reserving your tickets online and bringing a walk card to the game. We're very proud to offer one of the largest campus recreation programs in the country, and you won't have any trouble staying active here. So for me, I was involved with intramural softball in my time here. That's a lot of fun. But I actually had a friend who was the captain of our Quidditch team here at Waterloo. So if you're a Harry Potter fan at all and you wanted to try out Quidditch in your time, that might be a really interesting option to try for you here. And he actually got to go back to Edmonton to compete against the national championships in Quidditch, which is so interesting to me. Jacqueline, I'm going to bring you back in to see if there's any more questions in the chat today. Oh, I think I don't see you in the stream right now. I'll add you back in.
Okay.
There we go.
We had one about eating on campus and whether or not your walk card can be used at different eateries around campus. I will show that one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Great question. Yes, so your walk card can be used from any food services and restaurant on campus. So even Starbucks, Subway, whatever you see, you can use your walk card, and that will come from your meal plan. So your meal plan is good to use in both cafeteria, in the eatery in your residence, as well as any chain brand restaurants on campus. So your meal plan is good for any of those. Cool. Jacqueline, any other questions?
Still very program specific right now. So I think we'll just keep answering those in the chat.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and keep moving on with the tour.
Sounds good. I did want to answer this one. I saw it earlier in the chat, actually, the one about our railway system. So I thought it might be good to chat about that before we move on. Yes, so Faizan, great question. I'm assuming you're talking about the light rail that opened in Waterloo a few years ago. So this one connects the north of Waterloo to the south of Kitchener. Personally, yes, I do use it a lot. First of all, I need to get to the flight center very often. So I definitely rely on not only this ION light rail transit, but also the bus system that runs through Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge. I do want to highlight that we do have your transit pass included in your student walk card. So it's just unlimited travel across the city. So you just ride all day, every day, and that includes our ION rail. So I find it very helpful, and I use it to get groceries as well to get to Uptown Waterloo. Jacqueline, do you have any insight on this?
Yeah, I used it a lot when I was living off campus. It's super helpful to get to the mall or to get to Uptown, especially when there's, buses are on strike, but they're not anymore. Or, just visiting cool places around town. So I definitely like it. It's super fast, super convenient. It makes me feel like I'm back in Europe because of how modern it is. So yeah, I love using the light rail transit whenever I can. And it's super convenient because there is a stop on campus. So it's quite easy to just kind of hop on, hop off and go wherever you need.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really cool thing. If you've ever been in a streetcar in downtown Toronto, it's a kind of similar feeling, except we don't call it streetcar here. It's just a little light rail train for us.
Yeah, it's more of a train.
Yeah, we call it a train. Great question. So we're going to move on to our next stop on our virtual tour and talk a little bit about our campus housing, so our residences here. So let me just pull it up right here for us. So many of you are likely considering to live on campus here once you get to Waterloo. So let's check out some of the residences here. We actually have 10 residences. 6 of them belong to our campus housing residences and 4 are university colleges residences. We'll talk about this university colleges a little bit later, but if you're going into your first year, you are guaranteed a spot in residence if you want one. So does anyone plan to live on residence? Let us know in the chat and let us know what your plans are. But each campus housing community offers a variety of options. There are traditional dorm style rooms like in Village 1, Ronnet Village, and Cloud Miller Hall, or you can choose to live in a suite style residence at Mackenzie King Village, Columbia Lake Village, or UW Place. Campus housing residences are split up by floors or buildings and to just create more intimate, smaller communities. Some residences have dining halls, but there are lots of other places to eat on the campus too, like we saw at the Student Life Center. So let's check out our largest traditional style residences first, which is Village 1. Each residence has a general complex with activities, amenities, and front desk staff able to help you if you need assistance. In a traditional style residence, you either have a single or shared room and usually share a bathroom with people on your floor. A meal plan is mandatory since you don't have full kitchen facilities, but students living in campus housing can purchase a hearty, average, or light meal plan, which can be used at over 20 eateries across campus. It's pretty hard to get bored with the food options when there is so much variety to choose from. Eating in your residence cafeteria is a great way to also develop friendships, and our residences also have laundry facilities operated by your student walk card, so there's no need to save up change to do a load. Now let's check out Mackenzie King Village, one of our 3 suite style residences. While students share the suite itself, each student gets their own bedroom, and suite style residences have a kitchen right in the suite, so that means meal plans are optional. Students living in these residences have the option of purchasing a suite style meal plan that best suits their needs as well. These residences have a shared living room, which is great for connecting with one another, and have bathrooms within each suite. So regardless of the style of residence, campus housing gives you the foundation for a successful start to your university career. And if you decide to stay on campus in second year or later, there are upper year residences too. Residence life isn't at all just about where you live here at Waterloo. There are many other ways we support you. Residence dons plan activities so you get to meet people, and they're always around to answer any questions. You can also drop by our tutoring services for extra academic help or take workshops to develop your study or leadership skills right in residence. You can also choose to live in friends or something completely new. You can even live with students within the same faculty or program as you in what's known as a living learning community. So for me, I absolutely loved my first year residence experience. I lived in Cloud Miller Hall and was in the science living learning community actually. So I actually developed the friendships that I'm still friends with to this day. My friend group from in aviation, there were 5 other aviation guys on my floor, and we're not a very big program, so it was awesome to have that. But we came to watch movies together, shared meals together. But since I had the science living learning community, we ended up having courses together too. So I could just ask my floor mates the questions I had on our midterm and things like that. But I've loved it so much that I decided to come back as an upper year to be a residence don. So I've been a residence don for 5 terms now, so I'm done now. But definitely some of the most fun times of my life here. So what we do, we organize really fun events, and we're first aid and mental health crisis trained. So basically like older siblings in residence. So I'm going to pull back Jacqueline for any questions. But before that, Jacqueline, I don't know if you can talk a bit about your residence experience and your experience as a don, because I know you were also a residence don as well.
Yeah, so I actually lived my first year in United College, so one of the university colleges. I thought Waterloo was going to be a really big university, so I was a little scared to be in a kind of a bigger space. St. Paul's at the time, or United College now, was kind of that perfect in between where it was a smaller community on campus, really close to my building, the environment building. So I really love that. I still am very close to my friends, even though some of us are all across the country now. So I love that. And I kept returning, I guess, as a residence life don as well. So I've done 4 terms. I've lived in UWP in 2 of the courts, and then I've lived in Village 1 for 8 months as well. So I've enjoyed my experiences there and just helping out students and navigate kind of that first year experience. So that's been really fun. I even did an exchange to Germany, and I actually lived in their residence over there as well. So that was kind of fun to experience residence. And I would definitely say ours is more like community based. So that's something that's really special. And I think it's why I kept coming back. But we do have a question about residence. So I will pull that up now. In terms of students moving into residence, like what would you recommend students bring? Like their own laptops, fridges, like how to make students kind of comfortable.
That's a great question. You will get a little like checklist, a little shopping, packing list for residents if you do decide to live with us. Once you get your contract and you come accept your offer, we will send all those resources to you in your email. But basically, things that will make your room feel like home, basically. So any posters, photos of your family, friends, stuffed animals or blankets that you like, all those things to really touch up your room and makes it really seem more homey, and it makes you, at least for me, it makes me a lot more excited to be at home or to study up. But yeah, mini fridges are allowed in residences, so you can bring those. Otherwise, the room is fully furnished with a bed and mattress and lots of storage as well as a desk space and lights. So Jacqueline, if you have any more insight on what to bring.
Yeah, I would say bring things that make you feel comfortable as well as like things to support you in your studies. So definitely bring your own laptop or if you want to gain, more of a computer setup. I actually have a story. My cousin, she also went to Waterloo. She's a bit older than me, but she lived in a different residence within the college's Renison. And so she was a little shy when she moved in. She was the first one of her and her roommate to move in. And so she brought her baby blanket with her and she kind of like stuffed it away because she didn't want to be embarrassed. And then her roommate moved in and she was unpacking and took out her baby blanket. And so they instantly became best friends because they were just like, oh, yes, this person just kind of gets it. So, you know what? Don't be afraid to bring like your teddy bear. I still have my teddy bear here. And it just is kind of just, it makes it just so much easier to kind of adjust to that life away from home and make you more comfortable. So, show off your personal touches, make your room your own. I think that's what makes living in residence kind of fun. You get to experience everyone's kind of own personal experiences through their room and tell a story with it.
For sure, I couldn't have said it better. Yeah. Cool. So I think we'll move on. We only have two more stops in the kind of large main part of the tour. So we are running a bit short on time. So let's hop right in. So we did allude to university colleges before, and Jacqueline did live in United College as well. So we'll check out what the university colleges are all about. So University College is a smaller community in the heart of Waterloo's main campus that offers both residence and academic programs within the larger University of Waterloo. So the four university colleges each have their own unique characteristics. At St. Jerome, students can choose to co-register, completing their Waterloo Arts degree, getting the benefits of a well-recognized degree from the University of Waterloo while studying in a much smaller academic home. You don't need to be co-registered with a university college to live there, though, and students from any Waterloo program can choose to live in or take courses from one of the four university colleges. Students can co-register with Renison, which offers honors arts in business, social development studies, and social work. Renison also offers living learning communities for varsity athletes, social development studies, and the bridge to academic success, in English programs. Here is United College, are the campus leads for Indigenous Studies, Canadian Studies, and Human Rights. There are single and unique double residence rooms with private washrooms here. It also has a French residence floor and living learning communities for women in engineering, environment, and financial analysis and risk management. Greenhouse here, our social entrepreneurship incubator, is also located here. Conrad Gable here is the only residence that requires a separate application. It also has a mix of first and upper year students living there and offers programs in music and peace and conflict studies. It is also home to the living learning communities for music, peace tech, and peace and conflict studies. Each university college has an all-you-can-eat meal plan with cafeterias focusing on fresh, homemade food, and chocolate milk on tap is in all of them. So if you're looking for a unique and supportive experience, a university college is definitely worth checking out. Cool. So I've never personally lived in a university college, but I've taken a Chinese course actually out of Renison, and that was awesome because it was a Chinese course that was designed for Chinese speakers and understanders, but couldn't really read and write Chinese. So I found that course super helpful, and it was definitely much, much smaller than the classes I was used to in terms of in science having 700 other classmates. It was awesome to just be a lot more one-on-one with my Chinese professor. Jacqueline, I know you have a lot more of a personal story to tell as well. So if you have time, maybe a quick little, I don't know if you have an experience in a United College that's really memorable to you.
I don't know if there's any specific one, but we had a lot of just kind of events that our floor would do. So we were pretty close. Like they would host a dance every term, I think. So, get all dressed up together, take some photos, and then go to dance and, just kind of dance away our stresses with the other students in our residence. They would plan like a therapy dog night. So that was kind of fun. Um, we were making cookies and we got to wait our turn to pet dogs. And so I think that's always a fun experience. So yeah, just like little things like that really kind of make your first year experience fun and memorable and really connect you with your kind of people. You definitely meet in residence like the people that have those similar interests to you that you might not have had back in high school. When you're coming to a big university, there's so many people interested in so many things, and at high school you might not have had that. So that's I think something that makes residence really special.
Exactly. I feel like my world kind of opened up even more after high
Yeah.
school.
And also the university colleges are a little bit smaller. So they sometimes some of them actually handpick their roommates based on your application. So I think that's something
Mm-hmm.
special as well. They try to really match you with people who they think would be kind of a good fit based on, when you go to bed or your cleanliness in terms of like if you like
Mm-hmm.
messy spaces or not, based on your interests, things like that. So I think that's something really special as well.
Exactly. Nice. So let's hop over to our last kind of main stop, which is our Waterloo Indigenous Student Center. So speaking of unique experiences in university colleges, one place to note is the Waterloo Indigenous Student Center, which is located in United College. So the Waterloo Indigenous Student Center is a place for Indigenous students to connect with one another, for everyone in the Waterloo community to learn more about First Nations, Métis, and Inuit cultures and traditions. Popular events you can attend include powwows and soup and bannock days, which are really cool. Outside, we have ceremonial fire grounds with a medicine garden used for ceremonies, educational programs, and other gatherings. The space is shaped as a medicine wheel with a turtle in the center for the ceremonial fire to sit upon. So now that you learned a little bit more about all of our student services and facilities here at Waterloo, let's explore the specific academic areas that you're interested in. So drop your program or faculty of interest in the chat if you haven't already, and we'll visit as many of the academic buildings that belong to your programs or faculties of interest as we can. In the meantime, Jacqueline, are there any kind of good questions that we can answer live for the audience over here?
Yeah. So if you are in a specific program or faculty like engineering, are you kind of stuck to like a certain residence building, or can
Mm.
you pick whatever one you kind of want?
That's a great question. You're not stuck in any residence. There isn't a residence that is specifically assigned to a program. Unless you want to live in a living learning community, then there are specific residences that you can belong to. But as a first year, you are not restricted to any specific residence. So you do have personal choice. Like Jacqueline said, at the university colleges, you can actually rank your specific residences as well as, kind of listing your living habits or music tastes or whatever. At Waterloo, you can rank the specific residences and styles from your top choice to the last choice. And so that's all considered in the algorithm when you are being placed in a residence. So it's not a complete lottery, and you aren't ranked merit. It's not merit based on the grades. You are placed based on the preferences in your farm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And do you know if there's any way to like choose a roommate or get someone who's in kind of the same faculty or program as you?
Yeah, so you at Waterloo, you can request one roommate. So if you have a friend that you know or someone that you met, you can request each other. So that's really important to request each other. But that is something that can be accommodated. And if you do want to live with people in the same program, that's what this living learning community is for. It's an awesome space. So if you're kinesiology, science, what else? Global business, digital arts. There's specific communities that you can live with other students of the same program.
Awesome. And just kind of a specific question since you brought up you took a Chinese course.
Yeah.
For the Chinese program or the course that you took, is it Mandarin or Cantonese or Taiwanese, or are there different options?
Oh, great question. Yeah, so this is this is China 120R. That's the course code. It can be for both Mandarin and Cantonese speakers. There were a few Cantonese speakers in my class, but the course itself is to learn. I think it was simplified Chinese with Mandarin spoken. So that's specifically what it is. It's a Mandarin course primarily, but Cantonese speakers can be relatively easily uh, integrated. But yeah, the textbook and material is Mandarin and Simplified Chinese.
Awesome. Thank you. Here, we'll pull this one up as well. So do you know if there's like 3 friends, like if people can live in like bigger spaces, so not just like a
Mhm.
double room or a roommate?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do offer suite style residences from 2 to up to 4 people living per suite, where each of you get your own room. But sadly, you can still only request one roommate in our system. So maybe if you go in and figure out kind of within your friend group who wants to request the other person, but there's no guarantee that all 4 of you can be put into one room. There's only a guarantee if you request one other roommate.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of everything generally. I'm just scrolling through to see if we missed anything. Oh, yes. If you know anyone, sorry, let me pull that up. If you know someone that is a year or 2 older than us, are you able to room together with them? Is that possible?
Ooh, that's a great question. Based on what I know, if you know someone who's a year or two older that is also applying to residence um, in first year, then that is possible. Otherwise, that is usually not the case because at Waterloo, typically our first year and upper year residences are separate. I believe we are introducing a new program, however, this fall term for upper years to join. It does depend if your friend a year or two older is living in residence. Otherwise, the contract might not be compatible. You may have to only request another first year to live with. If you're talking off-campus residences, yes, you have full freedom to do that. But Jacqueline, do you have any insight to add?
I was going to say, I think we kind of divide residences into like first years and upper years. So I think if you were applying into first year, if they're a couple years older, but they're still in their first year, you could do that. But because there's a different kind of model of the system we use to help students with residence experience based on if it's a first time or an upper year, then I don't think you'd be able to if you were going into first year and they're in like second or third year in terms of campus housing. Off campus, you could definitely live. I live with some students who are still in their undergrad, they're finishing up. But if you are kind of in your upper years for the upper student residences, then you probably could request them based on my experience. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Great answer. Cool.
I think that is kind of all of the general questions.
Okay.
So I think we're just finishing up answering some of the more specific questions, but we are over time. So maybe if there's anything you want to wrap up with, we can do that.
Yeah, so we haven't gone through the specific building tours just yet. So I think we can zoom through that. And if anyone has to drop off early, we totally understand we had some of those difficulties earlier. So I'm just going to hop in. That looks like we had some engineering, math, science, arts, and environment interest. So I'm just going to quickly bang through that. And in the meantime, Vicky or Jacqueline can answer your questions in the chat. So I think we had some engineering interest. So I'm going to hop over really quick to do that. And so this is our Faculty of Engineering. I don't have my script ready just yet, so let me pull that back while I bring up my Faculty of Engineering notes for everyone. There we go. So the Faculty of Engineering has 15 direct entry programs, meaning that students have a discipline-specific studies from day one. Co-op is integrated into every engineering program here, meaning 100% of engineering and architecture students are in co-op. So by the time students graduate, they'll have up to 2 years of work experience. And engineering here is done differently with an emphasis on hands-on collaborative education. We have unique student spaces throughout 8 dedicated engineering buildings, such as the IDS Clinic in E7, which offers open-ended activities designed to spark student self-learning and exploration. The SADRA Student Design Center is home to over 20 design teams out of many that compete internationally. Examples include solar-powered cars, electric cars, autonomous cars, hyperloop travel, and more. We also have design teams such as the nanorobotics groups running out of other engineering facilities. Student life is also a key part of the engineering experience, and there's no shortage of places to get food, coffee, or socialize. Our engineering society is a student group that builds a positive and dynamic experience and contributes to an array of fun traditions and events. Ranked among the top 50 engineering schools worldwide, Waterloo is leading education and research and education. Cool. I think we have mathematics. So if you're interested in computer science, you're also belonging to the faculty of mathematics. So we can go check that out really quickly. So Waterloo is proud to have the only dedicated faculty of mathematics in North America. We have 8,000 undergraduate program students from over 65 countries and 23 different math programs. We offer many support services for student success. We have a free math and computer science tutoring center that assists with many first and second year math courses. This building also has computer labs, a dedicated math undergraduate office where students can connect with academic advisors. Outside of academics, students can visit the Math Coffee and Donuts for delicious and affordable food to grab in between classes and studying. And just around the corner is the club's hallway, a great chance to meet other like-minded students in many clubs. Students can also relax, study, and socialize in the Math Comfy. Over here, we have the David R. Sheridan School of Computer Science, which is part of the faculty and has classroom, labs, eateries, and a campus library. And this year, our School of Computer Science was just ranked #1 at the university in Canada, which is awesome. I believe we have some science interests, so let's go check that one out quickly. So if you're interested in studying science at Waterloo, you've come to the right place because we have 9 buildings housing over 700 research and teaching labs, many using unique tools and technologies. The Faculty of Science offers 17 direct entry undergraduate programs, and we also have the School of Optometry and Vision Science on main campus and the School of Pharmacy located in downtown Kitchener. Our facilities are as diverse as science itself and include state-of-the-art labs, an observatory, Earth Sciences Museum here, and an innovation hub for entrepreneurial scientists to develop and test their ideas, a greenhouse, and much more. Our science teaching complex includes our science undergraduate office, which has resources and advisors for first-year students and beyond. There are many areas to study and hang out, and the Starbucks and C&D are close by if students need a coffee break or snack break. We also have a retail store where students can buy lab supplies, and lab coats and goggles, as seen there, are always in fashion. Cool. I think we have 2 more faculties of interest based on what I see in the chat for our Faculty of Arts. So if you're studying any social sciences or humanities courses, that's where you'll head. So let's go to our arts faculty here. So the Faculty of Arts has 6 undergraduate programs, including the Stratford School and the School of Accounting and Finance. It also has 29 different honors majors, all of which offer co-op. Hagee Hall here, affectionately known as the Hub, is a beautiful building with study spaces for art students and also serves as a hangout spot in between classes. Class sizes for arts students will vary, but with the exception of the School of Accounting and Finance, all art students will take 2 arts first courses in their first year. They're designed to help you beef up your communication and analysis skills in order to make that transition from high school to university and be academically successful. There are super small courses of 25 students or less, and that was just faculty's beloved mascot, Porcelino, seen here looking at the art squad. Cool. Apparently, if you rub his nose, you get good luck between exams. So definitely, that's a little fun arts tradition. Okay, so before we wrap up our hour, we have one more building to look at, which is our Faculty of Environment. So the Faculty of Environment, you'll join the global movement for advocating for a greener and more sustainable world. I think this is the wrong clip. Sorry about that. There we go. And Waterloo is actually home to the largest Faculty of Environment in Canada, and it is a tight-knit, passionate, and welcoming community. We offer 10 unique undergraduate programs, including the new Climate and Environmental Change and Sustainability and Financial Management programs. In the Faculty of Environment, we live our values every day, starting with EV3, which is one of Canada's greenest buildings that features a living wall, solar power, rooftop garden, and lots of other innovations. EV3 is also built to support above EV2 to minimize the physical and carbon footprint of the building. Environment has the only knowledge integration and environment and business programs in North America, and has a world-class ecology, lab and field courses that allow you to immerse yourself in your education on campus and get your hands dirty by applying what you learned in real and practical settings. So this is Jacqueline's home faculty, I believe, and as an aviation student, a lot of my friends are also in the Geography and Aviation program in Faculty of Environment. All right, so I'm going to bring Jacqueline back just to wrap up our tour today because that is all the time we have. So I'm just going to wrap it up really quickly. Because it was awesome showing all of you on campus. So that does bring us our hour up together. So I hope you had a chance to start imagining yourself on campus as a student. I saw campus for the first time as a student coming for fall open house in grade 12, and I started grade 11. That was an awesome opportunity to see myself on campus. Hopefully, although this was not on in person, you still got to have a bit of an idea. So if you're looking to explore more campus in more detail, be sure to check out our tour playlist on our YouTube channel. So the link for that, Vicky, will share in the chat. Please stay connected with us. The best way to get in touch with us and the faculty and programs experts is through the website that we will share in the chat. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the latest videos about our university. We'd also love if you can fill out our feedback survey to give us a bit of some advice and feedback for how we did today. We'll send that into the chat as well so we can continue to offer better virtual tours. Jacqueline and I will stick around for a few minutes to answer any other questions, but maybe just a one or two since we have made our hour of time. But other than that, thank you so much for visiting and joining us on campus today. If you want to visit us in person, Jacqueline and I might be even being your in-person campus tours. And those are on our websites for our on-campus tours if you want to book one this summer. But other than that, thank you so much for visiting. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.